Hello and welcome to the session on Techniques for Higher Learning Conference and Panel Discussion. In the previous unit about techniques of higher learning, we have analyzed seminars, symposiums and workshops. We have understood how each of these activities are organized and conducted. We have analyzed the advantages of all these activities and learned that seminars and symposiums help participants improve their cognitive and affective skills, while the main objective of a workshop is to improve the psychomotor skills of participants. In this unit, we will be discussing in detail conferences and panel discussions as higher learning techniques. We will examine how they help participants to develop their skills and how these activities are organized. Let us begin with conference. Conference as a higher learning technique. Conferences can be definitely used as a technique of higher learning. Let us understand the concept in detail. How can we define conference? A conference can be defined as a formal meeting where people come together to discuss ideas related to a particular topic, namely education, medicine, etc. can be examples. Conferences usually last for several days. We can say that conference is a meeting where people confer about a topic. Ranging from academic to trade conferences, there are different kinds of them. Conferences generally are organized by organizations. In the sphere of education, conferences are normally organized by colleges or universities. Some conferences take place every year and they are known as annual conferences. There are certain important objectives of conferences. Conference as a learning technique can be used in higher institutions of learning such as colleges and universities. Students from undergraduation to PhD level can benefit from conferences. The main objective of a conference is to develop cognitive and affective skills of participants. Typically, conferences are organized to discuss the issues pertaining to a nation, society, organization, etc. The objectives of a conference, as mentioned above, can be divided into cognitive objectives and affective objectives. Let us discuss them in detail. There are different cognitive objectives for conducting a conference. Like every technique of learning, conference also strive to develop the cognitive abilities of a participant. The cognitive abilities include to develop a participant's abilities of creativity, analysis, synthesis and evaluation, to enhance reasoning and critical thinking of the participants, to encourage participants to observe and express their observations, to make participants sensitive towards a problem and to develop students' capacity to study a subject in depth. Apart from cognitive objectives, conferences have some affective objectives too. All techniques that are used for teaching should aim to develop the emotional aspect of a student. Conferences are no exception. Conferences have the following effective objectives: to develop the ability of a student to study a problem or fact from a broader and all inclusive perspective, to develop emotional balance and to learn not discard opposing views, to respect and tolerate ideas that are different from yours and to enable students to take criticism in a healthy way, and to develop cooperation and a feeling of independence. Conferences are a great way to make the participants achieve behavioral and social skills. The human interactions that take place during conferences will not only encourage a student to look at a problem objectively, but also compassionately. What do you know about the procedure of a conference? The participants of a conference can range from 20 to thousands. Conferences can be organized either periodically or annually. Members of the department, college or organization take part in the conference along with subject matter experts. Scholarly papers are invited from the participants on a particular topic. Now, let us examine different stages involved in the organization of a conference. Inaugural function is the first stage of a conference. At the beginning of a conference, the participants get registered. A chief guest will be invited to inaugurate the conference. The keynote address will be given by the president of the conference. The large audience is divided into small groups to discuss the various aspects of the theme of the conference. A convener will be appointed by the president for each group. Paper reading and group discussions is the second stage of conference. The convener of each group conducts and organizes group discussions. Papers are presented by each group on the already assigned aspect of the theme. Paper reading is followed by discussion. A record of the papers and the group discussion will be prepared. In the third stage, valedictory function is held. In this stage, all the different groups gather together. This stage will be presided by the president of the organization. A chief guest will be invited to the valedictory function. The conveners of each group present their reports regarding discussions and paper presentation in their respective groups. The participants can respond and comment to the reports presented by the conveners. A schedule for next meeting is also fixed in this stage. At the end, there will be a vote of thanks to the participants. What are the advantages of conference? Conferences, when used as a technique of higher learning, have many advantages. They are as follows. It is a technique of higher learning used to achieve the highest objectives of cognitive and affective domains. Conferences are a great platform to generate learning situations where participants are encouraged to analyze, evaluate, synthesize, criticize and solve problems and issues presented in front of them. By putting participants through group discussions, a conference can be used to instill democratic values in them. It can be used as an opportunity to have an intellectual discussion on a topic of common interest. It helps in developing independent study and thinking in the participants. They are encouraged to read and learn more about the issue of their own. An ability to solve problems and handle difficult situations are developed in the participants. Tolerance and respect to opposing ideas are developed in the students, and this is one of the major objectives of organizing a conference. The group discussions will aid in developing the ability to communicate their ideas and feeling in an effective way. The participants who take part in a conference normally will have great interest in the theme or topic under discussion. The participation takes place as each of the students are interested in the subject discussed. This will create an opportunity to have a fruitful and constructive discussion which will lead to the cognitive and affective development of each participant. Another tool for higher learning is video conferencing. With the advent of technology, the face of education has changed. Technology offers freedom for anywhere, every education. Now, the process of learning can be conducted in any environment with the aid of video conferencing. It allows two-way video, audio and data communication between two or more participants. It is the streaming technology and internet that facilitate learning at a place that is comfortable for the learner. All the participants can be in different places while participating in a video conference. A lot of vocational and other colleges are investing in video conferencing technology to bring expertise outside the institution or the country to education. Group or panel discussions are also used as tool for higher learning. The success of any higher learning technique lies in the fact that it allows every participant to express her or his views. Every participant gets equal opportunity in a given learning situation. Group or panel discussion is also based on this principle of higher learning. In fact, panel discussions are fashioned after modern theory of organization. According to modern theory of organization, each and every member of an educational or any other institution has the power to take initiative and bring certain value to the organization. Interactional learning techniques like group or panel discussions are the best way to offer equal opportunities of learning to every participant. Can you trace the origin of panel discussion? Before discussing the objective and advantages of panel discussion, let us understand the origin and meaning of the very term. It is believed that it was in 1929 Harry Allen Overstreet introduced this technique of higher learning for the first time. The technique involves a few members, including the panel members and the audience, who discuss and deliberate various aspects of a problem. A panel normally consists of 4 to 8 members and a chairperson. Typically, a panel has two functions. Number 1, the presentation of group discussion technique, and secondly, the exploration of various aspects of selected issues and problems. Panel discussion as a higher learning technique has a number of objectives. They are to provide information and new facts, to analyze current status of the selected problem from a different point of view, to identify the values, to offer intellectual stimulation, to find out solutions of an important nature for a current problem, to provide a comprehensive understanding of a given problem, and to create an opportunity that facilitates higher learning. Panel discussions are organized based on a few guiding principles. Firstly, as a higher learning technique, panel discussion is based on democratic principles of human behavior. It aims to provide equal opportunities to participants. It encourages active participation and originality and independence. It is based on social and physiological principles of group work by encouraging cooperation, sympathy and respect for different views, and again it is based on modern theory of organization that promotes equal opportunity and involvement. The panel discussion takes teaching into a reflective level, which is crucial to self-motivated learning. Panel discussion as a teaching tool has many features and characteristics. It is used at university and college level to organize teaching at a reflexive level. It aids in developing problem solving skills. It gives students a platform to present participants' view in a logical manner. It helps develop a tolerant attitude towards opposing ideas. It develops the creative and independent thinking, and it helps participants to look at problems in a critical manner. Panel discussions instill social values and mannerisms to the participants while encouraging them critically approach issues. There are different roles required for the organization of a panel discussion. Instructor. An instructor is an integral part of any panel discussion. The instructor has to decide the venue, date and how the panel discussion is being conducted. It is the instructor who creates the schedule of a panel discussion. Secondly, the moderator has to make sure that the discussion is taking place on the topic. A moderator has to encourage interaction among the members. He or she has to summarize the highlights of the discussion at the end. The moderator should have enough knowledge of the theme in order to perform the assigned role well. Thirdly, panelists. There could be 4 to 10 panelists in a discussion. Normally, the members of a panel sit before the audience in a semicircle, allowing them full view of the audience. The moderator will be heading the panelist, and the panelists are supposed to be subject matter experts in the selected theme. Audience. The audience has a key part to play in a panel discussion. It is in fact them that determine the success of a panel discussion. After the panel discussion, the audience is allowed to interact, clarify the doubts, make comments and ask relevant questions. The panelists will be answering the questions of the audience. The moderator can also participate in the question and answer session. At the end of the discussion, the moderator summarizes the discussion. Now, let us move to discuss the types, advantages and limitations of panel discussion. We may begin with types of panel discussions. Based on the nature and the theme, a panel discussion can be divided into two. They are designed to serve different purposes, audience and objectives. They are classified into public panel discussion and educational panel discussion. Let us discuss them in detail. Public panel discussion. A public panel discussion is organized to discuss the problems faced by common men. The panel tries to discuss and arrive at a solution for their problems. This type of panel discussion aims to achieve three types of objectives, and they are to offer a factual analysis and information of a selected theme or problem, to determine social goals, to offer the common men an opportunity to interact and stimulate themselves intellectually, and to offer common men an opportunity to express their view. Public panel discussions are conducted on mass media like television or on radio channels. Annual budget, price hike and other issues which are relevant in our day-to-day lives are discussed in a public panel. Another type is educational panel discussion. As discussed earlier, panel discussions in education are used for higher learning. Sometimes they are organized to understand certain paradigm shifts and problems related to a theory. This type of panel discussion has the following objectives: to offer conceptual clarity and knowledge to the students, to provide awareness of theories and principles, and to offer solutions to certain issues. Though they are very useful learning techniques, most of the educational institutions are not making use of them. The most commonly used techniques of higher learning techniques are seminars, symposiums and workshops, which we have discussed in detail in the previous units. The reason behind panel discussion becoming unpopular as a learning tool could be attributed to its autocratic nature. Now, we can discuss the advantages of panel discussion. Panel discussion, if used properly, has many advantages as a learning tool. Here are some of them. It induces social learning. It helps achieve higher cognitive and affective objectives as an educational technique. It aids in developing the ability of problem solving and logical thinking. It encourages cultivating tolerance and right type of attitude towards the problem and different views. It develops the skill to respect others' view and feelings, and it offers an opportunity to comprehend, assimilate and evaluate the theme and the points discussed. Interactions and getting introduced to new views are a great way to broaden a student's perspective. Better perspectives make one a better citizen and cultivate a habit of self-motivated learning. By providing the participants opportunities to express their view, panel discussions make students learn the importance of good behavior and mannerism. In the deliberations on panel discussion, its limitations cannot be omitted. Panel discussion, when used as a learning technique, can have the following limitations. There is always a chance of the discussions getting out of focus and going away from the prescribed theme. This can be hurdle to achieving the goal of organizing a panel discussion, achieve cognitive as well as affective objectives. Like in all other forms of group activities, some members may dominate the discussion, denying others their chance to express their views. As panel discussions are about letting participants express their views and then formulate a policy or bring in clarity to a theory, letting certain members dominate the discussion can prevent the event from attaining its pre-mediated goals. If panelists form an anti and fore group among themselves, fruitful interaction may not take place. Sometimes all topics in education are not amenable to panel discussion. The following are a few topics that an educational institution can use for panel discussions. Education as an instrument of social change, student teaching and teacher education programs, population education, the role of mass media and new media in education, adult education, examination reforms, delinking jobs to degrees, etc. Finally, we can point out some suggestions for organizing a panel discussion. Once an institution plans to organize and conduct a panel discussion, there are certain procedures to follow. By following the following suggestions, the organizers to an extent make sure that the panel discussion goes through the right direction and the prescribed goals and aims are achieved. Rehearsal. It is always better to conduct a rehearsal before conducting the actual one. A rehearsal will help ensure that discussions are taking place at the right way and all the participants are aware of the procedures and theme. Mature moderator. When choosing a moderator, the organizers need to make sure that the person is mature enough to stay neutral and provide opportunity to each member to interact. The moderator should be well versed in the topic and should be able to keep the discussions focused on the theme. The moderator should ensure constructive approach during the discussion. Seating arrangements should be also given the utmost importance. The panelists and the audience should be seated in such a way that they should be able to observe each other. If properly organized and conducted, each of these higher learning technique can greatly contribute to the intellectual and emotional development of the participants. Let us summarize what we have discussed so far. In this unit of higher learning techniques, we have analyzed conferences and panel discussions. We have learned that both conferences and panel discussions have cognitive and affective objectives. They aim to equip the participant with logical thinking, ability to analyze, evaluate and approach opposing views with maturity and tolerance. We have also examined the organization of both these techniques and the procedures and roles involved in conducting these events. Both conference and panel discussions have many advantages and limitations. Both of them are based on the principle of offering equal opportunities to participants to express and defend their views. They are formulated based on democratic values. One person or speaker dominating the discussions, which leads to denying other a chance to participate, is their major limitation. Both these learning techniques can be used as tools to initiate self-learning in participants. Now, you can try to answer the questions given here. What are the cognitive objectives of a conference? What are the advantages of conferences? Make a list. What is an educational panel discussion? What are the principles of a panel discussion? What are the features of a panel discussion? Hope that you may go through the reference books listed here for further reading. Mastery of Teaching Skills, written by Chowdhury SBJR and published by Discovery Publishing House, New Delhi in the year 2004. Advanced Education Technology, written by Sharma RN and Chandra S and published by Atlantic Publishers and Distributors, New Delhi in the year 2003. Thank you for watching this program. We can meet again with another topic. Have a nice day.